Hello everyone, it is Carlin here at May Blossom Design again, and today is a little bit of a different video. I am in front of my kiln, but we are not unloading it. We are doing maintenance on it, or I am doing maintenance on it. I want to preface this video before we get started, before we get into anything, that I want to make it clear that this is not a tutorial. This is not a how-to video. This is simply me doing maintenance on my kiln for myself. And I just want to take you along on the journey of me doing this for the very first time, because that's what my channel is about. It's just me learning new things and doing new things. Now, again, I want to make sure that everybody knows this is not a tutorial or a how-to. I'm not an expert. I am not telling you how to do this. I have watched videos. I have done my research. I have read my wiring diagrams. I took videos. As you can see, I already have this open. I took videos of everything that's on here so that I can make sure that I have it connected correctly for myself. But this is not a tutorial. I am not teaching you how to change your elements. Every kiln is different. Every element is different. I know bigger kilns have certain elements for each level of the kiln. That's not the case for my kiln. So again, I just want to preface this by saying not a tutorial, not a how-to. You need to do your own research, your own maintenance on your own kilns. And I just want to make sure that it's clear that I'm not teaching you how to do this. I am doing this and I'm just videoing how I'm doing it, but you are responsible for your own kiln, your own maintenance, and doing your own research when it comes to your own kiln, because you have to be safe and you have to be mindful of all of that information. So I just want to make that clear. Not a tutorial, not a how-to. You need to make sure that you know the elements, wiring, all that kind of stuff for your own kiln and for your own maintenance. So now that that is out of the way, that's what we're doing today. I am changing the elements in my kiln, and I just want to take you guys along with me and show you what I'm going to do, because there is a lot of questions on it. And I know that for myself, I was really nervous to do it. And then when I got watching a few videos of different creators doing it themselves, I kind of thought, I'm like, no, I can do it. Might take me a while, but I can do it. And so I did my research. I found the parts I needed, and yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. Like I mentioned before, every kiln is different. I have a Scut 714. So if you don't have a 714, yours is gonna be a little bit different. Just like I said, every kiln is different. But yeah, and regular kiln maintenance is something that I will admit I definitely did not think about when I bought my kiln. I in all honesty, when I bought my kiln, I thought, oh, there's no way that I'm ever going to fire my kiln that much that I'm going to have to change my elements within a year. But I was wrong. Very wrong. When I purchased my kiln, the owners where I bought it, they had mentioned to me, they said, well, just so you know, because they knew that I was a hobby potter and that I was brand new to this craft, that the thermocouple probably will need to be replaced within 50 firings just to keep it working correctly, which I did. I let it go a little farther than 50, but I definitely changed it. And they did mention that about 100 firings, your elements are probably going to need to be changed. And I have fired well over 100 times. And with anybody that, like if you have a kiln, you do know that your glaze firings are always harder on your elements than your bisque firings, because they're a large difference in temperature. And for me, because my kiln is so small, when I do a glaze fire, there's way less items in the glaze fire, obviously, because they can't touch like a bisque kiln can. So when I run a bisque, I pack my kiln as best I can, as even and best that I can, so I get the most use out of each firing with my kiln. But for glaze firings, I obviously just fired as many times as I could, because you can only put so much together. And you don't want to overpack a glaze kiln either, because you want to make sure that you do get to the proper temperature and that your glazes do what they want to do, or what you want them to do. So I know that I put my elements through a lot. Like I did probably, I want to say like probably 2/3 of my firings were glaze firings because I was pretty good at packing my kiln for bisque firings, and I'm pretty good at packing for glaze firings because I do like to be the most efficient that I can because it's expensive to run your kiln. I mean, electricity isn't free. I mean, in Manitoba, I won't lie, it's a pretty good deal, but in comparison to other provinces and other places, electricity in Manitoba is quite reasonable, but it still costs you money to run it. And as a hobby potter, when I'm not focusing on selling, I want to be the most efficient that I can be. But anyway, now back to the long story short of let's get changing our elements. So the first thing, I needed to buy 3 sets of elements. So I bought my Scut elements. Again, shout out to Sanding Stone because they're wonderful. And now, yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, well, let's just get into it. I'm just going to move you around and I'll put you closer to where I'm going to do things. Also, I've unplugged it from the wall. It gets plugged in over there, unplugged. Very important. That will be one thing I can teach you how to do is always unplug it when you're doing any sort of maintenance whatsoever, no matter what it is. Unplug it, turn off the breaker, whatever you got to do. Be safe when it comes to electrical, okay? Okay, so as you can see, this is my panel. I've opened it up. Now, I don't know how well you can see this, but this part right here, when I first bought my kiln, I actually did have a little bit of a problem. And this receptacle right here, it was loose. So that was something that I learned, and I'm going to share that with you, that this is another thing of maintenance that I regularly do, is I check that each of these are still, like, they're tight, that there's a really good connection to the, I don't know what that's called, but whatever it is back here. Because this one right here just was a little bit loose. It's perfectly fine. We were able to clean it up and connect it again, but it did melt the number card that is normally on here. So that's why you don't see it, but my wires are all labeled, so I can go by that. So with my kiln, all my elements are the same. I don't have to worry about top, middle, or bottom. They're all the same. I just have to worry about which are which. So that's all I have to worry about. So anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is cut my elements. Whoa. Okay. So I'm just going to cut each of my elements free. That one is tight in there. And hopefully you can see it and I'm not this one I'm going to just cut here because I'm going to have to strip it anyway, and I cannot get, I don't know how I'm going to get this one off, to be honest. Whoa, okay. Oh, goodness. So I am also not removing them from here. I'm going to leave them as is. Actually, what I'm going to do, so my brain thinks of things different ways. So what I'm going to do so that I can remember this for myself is 1 being 1, 2 being 2, 3 being there, but because this third one goes into the bottom one, I'm going to put this on here, and then these will just be removed afterwards. Oh, whoops, actually. see, I already made a mistake. This one is 3. And this one is 5, being already down there. So then this one is 4. And then this one is 6. Okay, now this may not make sense to everybody, but because of the way that my brain works, I'm hoping that it works for me. Because what I was worried about is because the second and third elements, they like crisscross kind of. So like the third one, like you saw, it all goes into, it starts in this element and then finishes in this one. And same with the second, the bottom of the second element starts in this one and finishes in this one. So I just wanted to make sure that because I like to look at things that way, it's easier for me to remember than crisscrossing, I hope. I know that that sounds really silly sometimes, but yeah. And because I'm not removing this, I just want to make sure that I don't cut. Oh gosh. Just make sure that I don't cut my thermocouple wire, because that doesn't need to be changed today, but there we go. Okay. And we will deal with, or I'll deal with this when I'm done. So your elements should all come with new insulators and stuff. So now I'll move you again and we're going to start taking out the elements. All right, so you have to pull out all of these little pins. And they're all basically in the corner, looks like. And I'm guessing that they hold all of the elements in place. So you just have to go around and pull them all out. So I'll just, oh shoot, I broke a bit of brick. So I guess just be careful when you're doing that. Okay, so let's hope that we got all of them out, and only a few minor pieces of brick fell out. And hopefully that's all. But now let's start, or now I'm gonna start pulling out the elements. Oh shoot. Well, so one element out. And if you can, like, I don't know if you can see it, but they're really dull and they look worn out, which they are. Oh, another piece of brick fell out. Oh, geez. It kind of just popped right out. Oh, I forgot to. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, gosh, you do get all new pins and everything, or the elements that I bought came with new pins, so, because these are just as worn as the elements are, obviously. So I'm just gonna go grab the vacuum and I'm gonna vacuum this all out to make sure that I've cleaned it really well. All right, so let's put in our new elements. Now your new elements will come, or mine came with new little butt connectors, new porcelain insulators, and then new pins for all the corners. And it looks like, whoa. Oh my gosh. It looks like they're bent. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm just gonna do these one at a time, obviously. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the bottom one first. So it looks like, yeah, so mine are bent, as you can see. So like my first bend is on the top of where the element starts is longer and the bottom one is shorter. So I'm gonna start at the top and then go around. And I'm just gonna cut this very end off. So I leave it nice and long. Okay. And I'm just gonna push it in. And yeah, I'm gonna put these in at the same time. I'm just gonna put these new pins at the bottom and I'm just gonna push them in at the same time, I think. And I wanna get it. I want to push it right in where it was, kind of. So I think I'm just going to push that down right in there. And then I'm guessing that's what I like to do. Nope, that was wrong, I guess. I don't know, like I'm obviously not putting these in right. So I obviously, oh, there we go, okay. think I made a mistake here because yeah. So you really do have to like push it in there. Like, and get your little bits. Really push where those corners are. Otherwise you're gonna have your element get a little bit mixed up. So I'm just gonna cut this end off. I guess I could have done that to begin with. And I'm just gonna stick it through before I get there. So far, the worst part has been putting in these pins. Okay. Well, that was the first one. Let's do the second one, I guess. This could be the last one. Yeah, okay. So this definitely is the longest part of the process, is re-putting in the wires. I definitely could have cut all this out because it is the same for every single element, but I decided to keep it all in because it is the reality of changing your elements. I mean, it's not a 3-minute process. It took me a couple hours to finish this whole process, but I thought I might as well show you a snippet because I did cut out quite a bit, but I wanted to keep the majority of me putting in the elements in because I just thought, well, what's the point of me making a video of me changing my elements if I cut out the actual putting in of the elements? So I do know that this is a long part, and I do know that I breathe heavy because when I get nervous, I breathe heavy, and I am under the weather, so you can definitely tell that with my voice. But I just decided to keep this in because I thought, why not? You wanted to see me change my elements. So that's what I did with this video, and hopefully it helps. I will say, if you guys do have any questions, please do leave them in the comments below because I will answer them as best I can. Because like I mentioned multiple times, I am not an expert and I am not teaching you how to do this, but I can answer your questions from my perspective on how I did this. So anyway, if you have any questions, just drop them down in the comments. And if you have any tips for anybody that is reading any of these comments about changing elements, please drop them in the comments as well, because if you have any sort of info or resource that you can share with others, that's always super important. And you never know how people learn. So a video might be good for some, but reading material might be good for others. So in my opinion, sharing information, especially regarding kiln maintenance and safety regarding pottery, is a really awesome thing to do. So again, if you do have any info or additional info or resources or anything like that, please do drop them in the comments below, because you never know who you might be helping if you drop that down in there. So anyway, I'm still changing these elements because like I said, it does take a long time. But that is just the reality of it. It is something you have to set aside a couple hours to do. And yeah, but anyway, I will let you continue watching me change these elements. Okay, so all the new elements are in. Now, I'm just going to vacuum again. Okay, so all of the elements are in. So now I'm going to add, I think the worst part about the whole thing was the little pins. Man. Okay. So I'm just gonna put on the new porcelain insulators. And I will say, this is pretty thick wire, so I did need you need some strong wire cutters if you're gonna do this. Okay. And I ended up with a whole bunch of extra pins, so I'm not gonna throw those out just in case I ever like see that I like missed a spot or that I didn't put one in a good place. So it is kind of annoying that I left those on, I'm not gonna lie, but I'll deal with it, I guess. So I'm just going to leave these with a little bit of leeway, I think. So it only goes in so my elements are tight. So I'm just gonna mark where I need to cut my wire, but I'm gonna do it a little bit farther so that I have, because it was really tight in here to cut before. So I'm just making sure it's pulled tight, and then I'm okay, so I won't lie. I did the first one off camera so that I didn't have to think about it when I was doing it. But yeah, okay, so like I said, I just put my little metal connector and I just put it on, and then I gave myself a little bit of leeway, and then that's where I'm gonna cut. And then I'll put on my connector, and I have my crimpers. And I know that it's hard to see, but like I said, I'm not doing this. Actually, put this on my crimper first. Here is a tip. put your metal thing, hold it on your crimper when you go to put it on, and then it won't fall off. Then I'm just going to strip some wire. So I will say that the actual electrical part of this was definitely the most nerve-wracking for me. I've never done anything with electrical, so I won't lie, I got my partner to help me understand it a little bit better. And then once I understood how everything worked, I definitely felt a lot more confident in what I was doing. So that helped quite a bit. So I'm going to remove these as I go. For as nervous as I was to do all this, once I got my bearings around myself, like what I was doing, it really isn't that hard. You do have to pay attention, as you will see in a minute. I do have a little screw up, but you definitely can do this. I know for myself where I live, there's no way that I'm ever gonna get a scut technician to come and help me or to do anything like this for me. So for myself where I live, I do have to be able to do this kind of maintenance. And yeah, it was definitely doable even for a hobby potter like myself. Oh yeah. Oh goodness. Okay. So this one, okay, so 3 is on. And then this is 5. So I'm gonna do 4 now. It looks scarier than it is, I promise. Well, we shall see. So yes, I did in fact screw up. Wire 4 and 6 have to go into the same slot in number 4 together. And unfortunately, I forgot about that, and I only put number 4 in the slot. And by the time I realized what I had done, I had already crimped it. So I did have to stop filming, and I ran to town to get some new connectors. But I did get too nervous to continue filming. So I stopped there with the filming, but I did get them changed. All right. So I changed the elements. I did stop halfway through because I confused myself and I made a little bit of a boo-boo, but I did finish. I just continued on with what I was doing, and now I have it back plugged in. I am running a test fire. I'm just gonna go to O22, which is I think like 1,000 degrees, I think. I'm not sure, something like that. But I'm gonna do it fast so that I can get up to temp, because I want to get to at least 500 degrees. And I'll probably stop it after that, to be perfectly honest. Sorry. When you have new elements, I realized that a little bit of smoke comes off of them. Yeah, freaked me out quite a bit, not gonna lie. So anyway, there is a little bit of smoke. So make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. I've got a fan running now because I was not expecting that, to be perfectly honest. I had my window open, but it's heating up. It sounds normal. My relays are kicking in like normal. No weird smells, no nothing. But at 500 degrees, I'm probably going to open the peepholes and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so we're at 810 degrees. I'm just gonna pop these out so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. All right, so I can definitely see that all the elements are heating. It didn't look super even on the video, I will admit that, but in person, they look even. So I'm really happy with that. Everything sounds good with the kiln. There's no funky smells. There's no weird things happening. So once I did press stop, because I could see that the elements were all working, I am going to reopen the box, this little box here. I am going to open that up just to make sure that everything looks good on the inside, because sometimes, well, I just am. I'm just going to do it. And yeah, that's it. So if you're watching this, then it worked. And if it didn't work, well, then I'm not posting it. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was different. It wasn't anything super exciting, but kiln maintenance is a really important part of the pottery process and of having a little studio and having a kiln, and it's a big deal, and it's very important to keep your kiln well maintained. So if you're thinking about getting a kiln or you have a kiln, that's really important. It's important to take care of it, and it's important to pay attention because it's important. Anyway, like I said, this wasn't a tutorial. This wasn't a how-to. This was a work through my problems type of video, and that's why I had to cut it short in the one part, because I was working through a problem that I didn't want to film that part. Anyway, but I did get them changed. Everything looks to be all good. Like I said, I will post this if everything worked out perfect. Otherwise, you won't see this video. But if you're watching it, obviously everything went well. Anyway, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. It really helps me create more content for you guys. And yeah, otherwise, I will see everybody in the next video, and hopefully we are back cooking with Cal. Bye, everyone.